Hi everybody, Shelby with the Soap Brew House here, and today I'm going to be making a Gin Martini Soap. Hold on a second, my dog won't be quiet. Hold on. Hi everybody, I'm back. Okay, we'll see if I get my dog to be quiet while I make this soap for you. Okay, so this is basically, I don't even want to call it a tutorial because I've never made this soap before. This is completely new for me, and it's going to have some embeds in it, which I definitely took some time in making, and it could be a complete failure. An utter failure from what when you get ready to make a soap, you imagine in your head how you're putting it together and what it's going to look like when it's cut. And sometimes that's successful and sometimes it's a complete failure. And so this is one of those wild cards. I've never made this soap. This embed thing, how I'm approaching it is completely new. It may not work, but basically you get to be a fly on the wall, and I'm just putting it out there to see if it's a failure or a success, and you get to watch the whole thing. So it's kind of like some dumb YouTube reality show on my soap making for today. So anyway, let me show you the embeds. This is going to be part of a trio of soaps I'm going to be making for Father's Day, kind of a cocktail drink trio. And so this is the last one I need to make, the fanciest one. That's why I'm putting this one on video. And this is going to be a gin martini. So what I'm doing with the embeds, because that's pretty much the feature of the video here is the embeds, is the martini olives. And so if you look over here, and let me pivot the camera for you a little bit, and I'll bring them closer as well. I created these large olives with a pimento inside, and they're flat, they're not completely round, because what I didn't have was one of those smaller cylindrical type tubes to actually put the melt and pour in. That way I couldn't just lay it throughout the mold with the main majority of the soap batter in there, which is what most people do. And that way, when you slice it, you're going to see it in every slice. I'm doing it a little different because it's all I've got. So anyway, I've got these large ones, these large olives. They're kind of cute. You got them on both sides. And how I made these is first I took 12 ounces of batter, melt and pour, and I added my olive green martini mica from Crafter's Choice, and I poured that into my silicone double lasagna pan that I have. Got this on Amazon a long time ago, and so I use it for soap making, and so 12 ounces gave me about, I don't know, it's about a half an inch, almost 3/4 of an inch in there. And I let that harden up. And I did the same thing for the pimentos. Not quite as red as I wanted, but that's all I've got. I've yet to find a really awesome red mica that gives me just the right color that I want. So I found also on Amazon these nesting fondant cutters. They're straight on one side and rippled on the other. And so I chose two of the sizes that I thought would work. And as you can see, I basically, once this was hardened, I cut out the green and then took the green and did the smaller one and cut that out. Cut my pimentos and then placed the pimento piece inside of here. Okay. And the plugs that I took out of here, I beveled a little bit, made another small hole, as you can see, and I used a straw for that, and I made the hole. Same thing once again, took my pimento piece and made little plug holes and put them inside the smaller olive. Now they're flat. Now the ripply side over here, that's going to be embedded in the top, so you're not going to see it. So this top part here, I beveled it just a little bit to give it some of the roundness, but not perfect. And that's okay by me. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm certainly not the queen of embed design. Mine are very basic. We'll just call them geometric olives. But that's how I did it. And then to get it out, I have dowels that I get in the craft store. And basically you can push it through, and then that way you can get your little soap plug out. So that's how I was able to do that. Definitely, if you like these little guys, I think it was $4.99 on Amazon for the nesting set. And because they've got a rippled side, you could use flowers. You could make really some cool flowers, I think, with it too, in different colors. So I may try that in the spring. But there are those. Anyway, so that's from Wilton, and that's a nesting fondant cutter set. So that's something to consider. Like I said, it was only $5 Amazon Prime. So, okay, so let me move this aside a little bit here. Okay, so that's the main part of this video. It's just going to be whether I can be successful and how I envision how I'm planning on using my martini olives in this whole thing. So I'm going to find out if I do it well or not. So, okay, so I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to obviously make my batter, put in the fragrance. The fragrance is by Nature's Garden. It's Gin Martini, and it's supposed to not accelerate, not discolor. It's supposed to cooperate really lovely, but you know, we'll all see. We've all read reviews on fragrances doing so well for others, and then all of a sudden it just, I don't know what happens. The stars don't align quite right in our kitchen that day, you know, and we have issues with it. But as you can see on my mold, I've made score lines, and that's where the cutter is going to cut the soap into the pieces. Now, usually when you make those, you're going to put your embed in between. That way when you slice, you don't booger up your embed. Well, that'll be that way for these little guys that I'm going to put on top of the soap. However, here's the wild card. These bigger ones, I want to be like a toad in the hole, if you're familiar with that breakfast food. And it's going to go on the line. So when I slice it, and this will be completely buried in the batter, but not real deep, just under the surface. But that way, okay, imagine with me. Then when I go and I put the soap block in my cutter and I cut into it, you're going to have a surprise olive martini inside the soap. Okay, are you with me? This could completely fail. I have no idea. Like I said, you're a fly on the wall. Let's just see what happens. So I'm going to mix the batter up, and we'll go from there. Hold on with me now. Okay, hi everybody, I'm back. Well, the fragrance performed lovely, no acceleration, and frankly to tell you, I almost wish it did have a tiny bit of acceleration, because trace, just when I thought I got it to a medium trace, a nice thicker pudding, then I'd stir out the bubbles and it would, I swear, it would thin again. And so I need it to be, you know, not set, but firmer. That way I can suspend my giant olives in there and not worry about them falling over into the batter. So I had the camera on pause for quite a while. So anyway, if you're interested in the fragrance, it traces slow. You've got plenty of time to swirl and twirl and do whatever you want, and you know, even play on the computer in between, because that's what I did while I was waiting. So okay, here we go. Yeah, okay. Let's see if we can do this. Let's see, let me test my batter. That seems pretty good. Not fully set, but enough where I think I can get them in there without gravity wanting to make them go sideways. So, oh boy, let's give it a shot. Like I said, you're a fly on the wall, and this could be a complete disaster. So my goal is to get these little buggers right in the center of the cut line. And I'm not going to do completely center. There we go. Let's start with, I should try to push it in just a smidge more. Okay. So far so good. I think I'm going to offset how I place them in there so I don't have all the batter dipping in one spot. I think that would be a safe thing to do. These little guys. And then I will texture the top a little bit to cover them up, and then I'll place my little guys. So that's what I'm thinking in my head right now as I'm doing this. Like I said, I'm completely winging this. Push that in. And it's allowing me to push it in more. This is a really behaving fragrance for doing this. Oh, what perfect timing. Somebody's at the door. Hold on a second. Hi, everybody. See, my neighbor brought me a gift. Wasn't that nice of her? I forgot to mention today is Christmas Eve. So this will be my soap gift for tomorrow. Is when I cut this, it'll be successful and look how I want. Okay, so let's continue on with this. Get these little guys in here. Shh, quiet, Maddie. Make sure I keep them lined up with the cut line. I apologize if my head gets in the way of the camera. Let me try to turn this. There we go. There we go. These buried in there. I don't need the dowel like I thought I would. Ooh, one more to go. This little guy in there. Or two more. Two more, huh? Okay, last one. Oh, that's the toughie. Okay, let's see. Always the end one can be tricky. Fabulous. Okay. They're in and they're upright, and I need to move a tad faster. Oh, let me push them in a little more. Trying to keep them straight. Okay. Let's texture this. Cover them up. Now would be the time to do like a fun swirl or something on top, but let's not get crazy. Let's just, there we go. And so I'm going to put the little guys on top, the little olives on top. I'm not going to texture any more than this basic little swirl pattern. I don't want to over design this. The feature is the giant olive inside. So that's why I really want this to come out. Okay, it's all covered as you can see. Let's get the rest of that. Perfect. Okay, and now I can just put my little guys in, not on the line but on the spaces because I don't want to cut these. There we go. And I'm going to try to bury them in the opposite spot. Oh, pimento. Pimento fail. Hold on, hold on. Ooh, there we go. Okay, hold on. Oh, wily buggers. Okay, well, let's try that again. Oh my goodness, and have a pimento fall out. That's no good. Okay, let's try to get that right there. I think I'm burying these in the opposite spot of where the other ones were. Heck, I don't know. Maybe you guys watching, you're going, nope, nope, she's putting them right on top of the big olives. But I could have swore I started there. I don't know. We'll find out. We'll find out. Da, da, da. Hopefully once. Oh, it's looking good so far, huh? What do you think? Not bad. All right. Okay, one more. One more olive. Fantastic. And I'm not going to sprinkle glitter or mica or anything else on top. Like I said, not going crazy. This soap is primarily going to be for a man. It's part of a men's gift set. And I'll show that to you later on once it's all said and done in a new tutorial on what you can be doing for Father's Day and Valentine's Day gifts. But boy, check this out. I'm really happy with it so far. Let's just hope the cut is just as nice. Now, just to finish this segment of the video up before I splice in the cut for tomorrow morning, my Christmas Day cut. Okay, shut up, Shelby. Anyway, I'm going to let this set up completely so it isn't jiggly at all, and then it will go into the refrigerator, not because I want to prevent gel, but because the embeds that are inside of the batter, I don't want the batter getting too hot and melting my embeds, and then I just look like I have a green and red blob inside. Okay, so that's why I'm going to refrigerate this. I wouldn't necessarily do it for the ones on top, but I'm doing it because of the ones that are buried. All right, and that's all said and done for now. We're going to put this baby to bed. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the cut.